Hey, Shane.
Hey, Keith. How's it going?
Your eyes look a little sleepy.
Yeah. Fearing my 5 o'clock wake-up call. It's making me tired already. Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Dave. Two Daves.
Two Daves.
No, I'm sorry, it's Larry. Hey, Larry. Or Lenny.
That's okay.
I had about a dozen.
How's it going, Lenny?
Not bad, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
I'm a little nervous. This was pulled together really fast.
You'll be fine.
I wish I could be as relaxed as Dave looks.
He does look relaxed. Chill.
He looks very relaxed.
I'll move into lean forward mode when the show starts.
I tried to connect my high-def camera up, and Google Talk and Google Plus Hangouts will not recognize my FireWire. I'm going to have to go buy something. We lost Lenny.
Oh no.
So why are we nervous, Keith?
Only because I had to arrange this so quickly. I would like everybody to have a week's notice and try to pull something together.
Oh.
That's right. I have no ideas.
I don't have any ideas either, but I figured we'd talk about. I figured eventually it would start to develop a momentum on its own because we all like talking. Just has to get going. Shane is good at that, so I'm glad he's here.
Yep. Let everybody roll.
But we'll give it like another 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and if the rest of this first circle don't show up, I'll send invites to the second circle.
I'm getting server errors. Oh boy.
Oh, the circle of doom.
Get rid of those right now.
I'm gonna refresh my Hangout just in case. Yeah, my chat is all screwed up now. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Hey, Rick, you replaced
Rick.
Lenny.
What?
Lenny was here and dropped out, and then you replaced him.
I can't see anything though.
And I
Oh,
see
there we go.
half a
Okay.
head. I see half a head on you.
So are we going to talk like tech specs, or? Because I'm pretty loose on the.
Well, I was going to rattle off the Apple announcements today,
Okay.
and I assume some of the conversation's going to go a little bit for a while on the iPad. Shane, I'd love if you and Dave would cover any impact on photographers.
All right, I can't see anything. I'm going to have to probably drop off and join again.
Can you see people when they talk and they're in the main window?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I'm using Chrome. Okay, there. Now I can see somebody.
And then the other things, if we have time, and I'm thinking we will have time, we want to talk about Google Play. Because
Yay, Google
I had a
Play.
fun experience with that, as Dave knows. And just hours ago, they changed the +1 badges, too. So we have Google Talk that we can discuss. So anybody, and then Shane, if you want to bring up the new camera, or Dave, feel free. But I like to say that to the end to make sure that the tech stuff gets out there first, because there certainly are enough photography shows to talk about the camera.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
Especially
Don't take our bread and butter away from us. Which new camera?
5D3.
Yeah.
Ah. I'm Nikon. So Dave, that would be you.
Oh, David.
Yeah.
Hey, David. I didn't know if you were actually going to join or not. Thank you for coming.
Mostly lurking.
Well, no, don't lurk.
Lurker.
Don't lurk. We're going to talk about stuff that I know you have opinions on.
Yeah, you got to participate because I'm gonna lurk.
Actually, I was thinking of making Dave co-host. So Dave can't.
I think you think too much of me, Keith.
Hi, everyone, by the way. I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Chris is actually the person that started this madness.
I just asked you a question.
This last-minute scramble to let's put a hangout together because we're not aware of any others going on.
Madness.
Twit had one running, but I didn't get an invite.
Well, I know it's an issue that people have a lot of opinions on.
Yeah, but you know what? The opinions have all been, and we shouldn't talk a lot about this before the show, but the opinions have mostly been anti-Apple and pro-Apple, not really iPad or the other stuff they've talked about. This is the first major announcement they've made since Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Since what?
The first
Steve
iPad.
Jobs.
Yeah.
No, the iBooks announcement, an iAuthor.
Oh, okay.
iBooks author.
Was that major, though?
No.
So we have 6 people. And Lenny is not back.
So help me here just to make sure all the ducks are in a row. There seems to be some confusion about the Retina display, at least in the thread that I had posted on my stream. I don't think that everyone was getting the fact that it's a higher resolution.
It's the same physical size. It's roughly double in resolution because the pixel.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. 72 dpi is the screen resolution for a normal screen. What people weren't getting was, why would that matter to me? You know, I have an iPad 1 or an iPad 2. I don't need an iPad 3 as a photographer. I don't care. You know, and that's fine, but that's like saying, oh, I have a TV. I don't really care if I watch anything in HD.
Yeah, some people.
Right. No, I
some
think
people
the Retina
don't.
display is going to make a huge difference.
Some people don't care, but I think photographers should care.
Yeah, I think photographers should care, and I just didn't want to be like. I guess I should have explained it on the thread. I just kind of let it run its course, but a couple people didn't get. I guess they'd have to see it, and didn't get that the resolution. The thread on it was I reposted a blog from Pop Photo, and it said, you know, is this going to be trouble for photographers because now they're going to have to post larger resolution images. So it really wasn't about what you can do with the device.
Were they creating?
Yeah, they were trying to create
specific sizes in the first place.
No one's doing that yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, for
But-
photographers, for there's stuff on an iPad.
But there's a lot of photographers that don't want to put out big images because they're worried about people being able to print them. So if you have a Retina display, which is 264 dpi, I think.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
So
It's probably
if
gonna
you
be
make an
issue,
image
yeah.
that's going to fill up that Retina display, you could easily print that
Right.
at, 14 inches.
At a print-ready resolution.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we can talk about that. I just wanted to touch bases earlier. I know that there's some expensive monitors that are high resolution, but I don't. You know, this is a device that's going to be readily available, so it's a different thing.
All right, so I invited the second circle. the
second circle of hell.
Second circle of tech. And
Tech
I
hell.
sent a private message to Lenny saying, is he coming back? I hope he didn't get mad at me.
Come back.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one thing that occurs to me about the Retina display is this going to make the file sizes of everything twice as large, right?
Yep.
I mean, and all of a sudden that 16 gigabyte iPad doesn't hold nearly the number of apps, the number of photos, the number of videos that it held on an iPad 2.
Hence iCloud. Right? That's what they're going to try to end up selling, is they're going to end up trying to sell, it's the finance side of this thing, is they're going to end up trying to sell space on iCloud so that you can store all of your things that are
This is
high
the discussion
resolution.
I want to save. So,
Sorry,
yeah.
jumped right in there, Keith.
Yeah. No, that was absolutely perfect, and it's exactly what we need.
Yeah, we should
And the
probably
other
not,
thing-
we should probably not blow our whole conversation load in the pre-show.
Hey, Lenny's back.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
Alright.
So by the way, everybody keep your Hangout chat open in case we have technical issues or whatever. We can say stuff to each other like, hey, so-and-so mute, you're getting an echo or whatever.
Yeah, I'm the, if you can mute, if you're not talking, that always helps a great deal. I can't participate in that particular chat room because it's visible to the broadcast. If I do, it screws everything up. So. Okay. I'm just lining up some last minute stuff here because our
I heard a rumor at one point that they were going to make the Hangout chat rooms IRC capable.
That would be so awesome. I couldn't tell you. And another reason why nobody would need me.
We need you, Keith.
I'm telling Google all the things that they need. They don't need me anymore. Because, you can bet that nobody thought of doing a chat room until, I wasn't aware of any, was anybody else broadcasting?
Nope.
Often as I was? I don't think so. Leo tried it once or twice.
You owned it.
So,
You made it yours.
yeah, but it's going to get taken away. I got to adapt. Adapt or die.
That's right. It's all about adapting.
He's like the RIA trying to hang on.
No, our agent, of course you comply with them.
You're using a chat room, I'm going to sue you.
We still got a couple minutes here.
That's a vidcast patent.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, because maybe, the most scary thing in the world is you do something like this and one person shows up. So now
Not for you, Keith.
Now my pain is shared.
Share my pain.
William's having some technical difficulties.
You just hold up pictures. So please, everybody, interrupt everybody else as much as possible. If you got knowledge, interject it. If the chat room asks questions, somebody repeat them. Stating who it is. We only got a couple people in the chat room, so this is the first time we're doing this, so I assume it will get better.
I assume that chat room's going to be hopping later for the 5D2 giveaway.
Yeah, for the Thomas Harvey.
Ooh, that's right.
Well, that's the reason I have a hard stop just before 10:30 too.
I'm going to try and win that thing.
What is it that they're giving away? I'm totally lost now.
A Canon 5D Mark II.
Oh.
Smug. Owning it. So there are some companies that have really embraced Google Plus, and others that are just kind of like, eh.
I think it's still early. Crying out loud, Facebook didn't have this level of complaints or adoption this early in its life. So.
Yeah, it's true.
And same thing with Twitter. Twitter came out in 2007, and it didn't take off until like 2010. And it was because of celebrity recognition or politician recognition. It wasn't because the world just came across it. The same people who dissed it are the same people that started to use it.
It's about the Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit later. That was a good turning point, though.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing about the iPad 3. I think the people that are, like, dissing it right now, at least in the threads that I saw, are going to end up buying it.
Well, it's actually the iPad.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
They're not gonna, they've done away with the names.
The new iPad. I mean, it's no different than MacBook and iPod.
Right.
And
That's smart to get away from.
it's just annoying to search for issues on the web. You'll be like,
I have an issue with the new iPad. I have an issue with the new iPad.
well, everybody's going to be going 2012 iPad.
I just bought an iPad today, but I bought an iPad 2 for $350
Nice.
out of the Apple refurbished store because the prices all dropped.
Yeah, that's a good idea though. I saw you post that.
Yeah, I think that's a great buy.
When I ask everybody to introduce themselves, we'll start with Chris, and we'll just go in order, skipping me.
Okay.
I have to recommend, Keith, the Zag keyboard. I love my Zag keyboard for my iPad.
Okay, well, I'll come after you later because it's a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yes.
Because because on Elite peripherals now. This is only the
Yes, you will.
I can sell it. Oh, there it is.
No, I
Own
completely stuck
the
under it.
ZAG. Own.
Look at that. That's cool.
All right, so I'm going to do the countdown and we'll start this.
Am I here yet?
Hey, we hear you.
Ah, hot damn. Hey.
So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Tech Plus Hangout. I'm Keith Barrett, and with me we have a great cast of people to talk about the Apple announcements and other news that happened today. We'll start the introductions with Chris Porter.
Hey, I'm Chris Porter. I'm a home audio video integrator in Columbia, South Carolina, and technology enthusiast in general. And you can find me here on Google Plus and at CW Porter on Twitter.
All right.
Veffer.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dave Veffer. I am a CTO at a commercial photography studio. I do all our computer server work and also handle a lot of Photoshop and design type things. And I like tech. You can find me at plusdave.com. That's my profile.
I'm David Hinson. I'm Chief Information Officer at Hendrix College, a small liberal arts college in Conway, Arkansas.
I'm Lenny Fontes. I'm a Disney developer, social applications, and designer, user experience, little everything.
I'm Rick Betteridge. I'm a Disney technologist as well, working on some of our very, very large systems.
Hi, I'm Shane Srogi. I'm a professional photographer, and you can find me here on Google Plus at gplusshane.com and shanesrogi.com, and on Monday nights on the Keith Barrett Network, the Vidcast Network, on the Plus Photo Show.
Hi, I'm William Beem. I'm a photographer and author living in the Central Florida area, and you can find me here on Google Plus or at my blog at williambeam.com.
And you can find me over at vidcastnetwork.com and keithbarrett.com and stalking all through Google Plus universe like everybody else in this room. So today was a day full of announcements. We had Apple gave a press conference and they talked about a couple of things. iTunes now supports 1080p. They announced a new Apple TV at the same price as the old one. Anybody know what's different about the new one?
I just loaded the new software on my Apple II TV, and I have to tell you, although the interface is streamlined, I'm not really loving it that much.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I tried it out earlier this evening, and it gives you all these big icons, but I'm kind of lost to find some of the functions that I used to be able to go to right away. I'm sure they're in there. It's just going to take a bit of adapting.
Yeah, I think they took a step backwards. It looks more like the Roku interface now, and I'm not quite sure why they would go that way, other than to kind of adapt to that same iOS look and feel. But like you said, I found it easier to navigate the menus than it is these icons.
Well, it is the Apple way, after all. Make things simpler, and us techies don't like it, but the average consumer loves it, and they keep buying it. So we're gonna have to live with it, I suppose.
I don't know. I'll get a
shiny
I'll get a
candy
chance
buttons.
to get my wife to test it.
Yeah, the wife acceptance factor is always
the WAF.
all of this.
Yeah, I got her work. I finally got her using Plex, so that was a big jump forward.
I'm a big Plex.
I'm sure they did a bunch of focus groups.
I was definitely.
Go ahead, Lenny.
Oh, I was going to say I was definitely disappointed that they didn't add a Hulu channel this time. Hulu Plus is absent.
And that's interesting because the Roku, all the devices, all the set-top devices, they all, of course, do Hulu Plus. They don't offer the free Hulu at all. And I agree. The Roku interface, I love the Roku device, but I don't like the interface on it. Where you have to keep browsing to find things and searching to find things. That always bugs me. But of course, the big announcement today was the new iPad, which is not called an iPad 3. Even the website doesn't say that. It just says new iPad.
The new iPad.
The
New
new
iPad.
So what do you think?
Well, I was silly enough to order one, so I must have liked it.
You didn't stand in line for it?
I've already found buyers for my old iPad and iPad 2, so now I don't have to worry about numbering them anymore. You know, I must be a weak fanboy because my initial thought before the presentation was I'm not really looking for anything. I'm not interested in anything. And I sat there and I watched the video, and I started thinking more and more about I want the speed of that LTE, and Orlando has good coverage from AT&T now, or at least so they claim on their map. And I said, okay, I'm in.
I like the LTE and the HSPDA Plus, but I just have the Wi-Fi version because I tether it with my Android phone, so there's not a full fanboy going on here. But nothing about anything about it made me say, other than maybe the 4G would say, oh, I got to go out and have that today. If I was traveling a lot, I could see it, but even the screen, the screen was interesting, but I don't know that it's a game changer.
Yeah, well, here's what they announced as the feature.
I think people,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm not in love with, definitely not in love with the name. I sort of agree with Dave that it makes it tough to do any sort of search for that particular, model. You can't, it doesn't have a model number other than new iPad, and new iPad is going to bring up tons and tons of hits whenever you try to do a search for it.
That's driving me nuts too, and I can't figure out a reason why they would do that.
They do it because of the same thing with their computer products. They don't come out with a version name for the MacBook Pro or Air or iMac. It's just, here's the latest version of it. So
I understand why they do it, and I don't think it's that a bad idea. You figure cars, they don't change the name of the Toyota Camry from year to year. It's just a Toyota Camry, and it's the 2011 or the 2012 or the 2013. So it makes sense to me from a marketing perspective especially. But ultimately, people are going to buy this thing regardless of what it's called, right? I mean, we're talking twice the resolution, twice the horsepower for the exact same price. Yep. What other tablet are you going to buy?
And it's got a 5-megapixel iSight camera in it.
Right.
Voice dictation, and a quad-core graphics setup on it.
We'll call that Siri Lite.
That was my confusion. They added voice dictation, but they didn't add any of the Siri features, and why would they omit that?
Somebody had the theory that it's because there's so many problems with Siri right now, not necessarily with the technology, but the server backend doesn't support all the Siri communications and requests. That if the iPad rolled out with it, it would just they'd have to really beef up their back.
Well, you'd think with that $100 billion they had sitting in cash that they could build some of those server farms to handle those requests, right?
Look at that server farm that they just built last year. You would think that would be able to handle the crush as well, but I don't know. I guess they're not showing us all the details of what's going on. Maybe the servers are handling it and the bandwidth isn't.
So William bought one. Is anybody else going to buy one?
No.
I'm going to buy one.
And so what kind of impact
I'll
is that
probably buy
going
one
to have on you
eventually.
as a photographer?
Well, I think it's got a lot of impact. We kind of talked in the pre-show about this, but the higher screen resolution is just going to be, if you hand that to your client, first off, if you hand that to your client, they're going to go, wow. So that right away is an excellent thing for a professional photographer. Then the other thing is editing. You get an iFi card and you start to zip photos over directly to this thing wirelessly. You're going to be able, you're not going to have to chimp on the back of your screen, which, since I'm a Nikon guy, that screen lies to you. It's not like a Canon, which is more accurate. So you're going to be able to do editing studio-style editing out in the field, which I think it'll be really great. It's sort of like having a big old 8x10 view camera and actually getting to see the image a little bit better. So, I mean, just those two things I think are going to be huge. And then the dictation, I do a lot of interviews for blogging, and I really hate trying to tap out an interview while somebody's talking. It's almost impossible to keep up with them, especially if you get a good interview going and it's animated.
Mhm.
So I think if the dictation works, that would be fantastic. So
This has FaceTime written all over it, you know.
yeah, I think that I can see every photographer getting a hold of one of these things. I might be overstating that, but
You know what would be
I'm thinking.
interesting is if Apple allowed you to use the camera connection kit with like an SD card and not have the pictures move to the device. Because, you know, as we were talking again in the pre-show, the idea of having, you know, a raw image on that is huge. I mean, the raw image is going to take up a lot of disk space. Because they're talking even with iPhoto now, you can edit raw images with this thing. I mean, you get a few of those and goodbye 64 gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Quickly.
So has the biggest handicap for photographers been the screen resolution or the processing power?
Yes.
I'd say maybe storage, lack of storage on board.
The storage. I didn't even think of the storage.
Well, when you get with RAW files, the storage definitely hits you. I tried it with just my point and shoot, that little Nikon P7000, and I loaded up the RAW files from there thinking I was going to go edit it. But as soon as I loaded up the first RAW file, none of the programs I had on my iPad 2 were able to edit the thing. This thing was too huge just to fit, you know, in the RAM. So it wasn't playing nice. It's only going to play with JPEGs for a while.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
They didn't introduce any big new sizes, right? It's still the same sizes they had for the iPad 2.
Yeah, 64 gig was the top end.
Yeah. Which is
Right,
somewhat
that's what
surprising.
perplexes me a little bit. You figure everything's, even the apps themselves, the graphics inside of the apps are going to be twice the size that they were before.
Yeah,
So-
why would you release a bigger resolution screen if you're not going to have more memory to hold the stuff that you're going to display on it?
Well, I mean, what
Well, they have
percentage
to hold-
of their clients that are going to be buying this, what percentage of the consumers are actually photographers that, you know, is it worth it for them to make an even bigger version? And they probably ran the numbers with some bean counter and said, no.
Well, they have to hold back something for the next release.
Yeah, that is the one holdback, is the memory and not being able to use some sort of removable device. But I was talking more in terms of, I shoot a lot with my iPhone, and, you know, just being able to process JPEGs quickly with Snapseed or Photoshop Touch, I guess, you know, would be a real handy thing. And the camera on the iPhone, I like it, and it's also limiting. So it'd be nice to be able to use a more capable camera at times with that same editing power.
But that's
Isn't it the same camera as the 4S
I didn't see
now?
the specifics.
No, I'm talking like tethering, not tethering, but wirelessly tethering like a DSLR JPEG and beaming it over,
Oh, okay.
a quick Snapseed edit, and then publishing it out to Google Plus and to Facebook.
So just make it a better cloud device now?
I think it does. I mean, it's, if you look at the new Nikon D4 and they've got a wireless thing over there that could work with Wi-Fi, you could do what he's talking about and put it on your iPad. You know, just to see, if nothing else, just to see a larger version of what's on the screen on the back of it. You could still go and edit it. But one of the things a lot of people are doing now is they'll their iPhone, it'll go up to iCloud, then they'll pull it down on the iPad and do some processing there, then share it on Facebook, Twitter, or what have you. And for a lot of people, that's enough.
Yeah, but where do you think Apple's going with the cloud? Because they got rid of Mobile Me and they got rid of, was it, iDisk? So they don't have any Dropbox type solution that they offer right now. So what is their cloud solution right now?
I think they want to suck you into their economic system for what they're selling on iTunes is available on iCloud, and you can only get it on their devices. So it's a way of selling hardware and keeping you in their economic space, because all those things have their proprietary, I don't know proprietary, but you know, they've got the formats that you generally don't find on other devices.
Yeah, it's interesting. Steve Jobs, you know, went near the end of his career, I guess, and said, you know, DRM is dead. You know, we're not going to use DRM anymore. And now, basically, you've taken and said, okay, I'm not going to use DRM. I'm going to just have everything stored in the cloud. There's no reason to have DRM because the only way you get to it is have it streamed to your device. So unless you can pick it off in the middle, you know. So I think that's, to your point, that, now if I can buy something and just rent it, there's no reason for DRM, and I just get it streamed to my device. I don't have to store it.
So now, are these 1080p videos that they're now supporting, is that also for the iPad versions via the iTunes store? Because if it is, I mean, it's going to be, if you're on the LTE or whatever, you're going to be sucking up major bandwidth. I mean, 1080p movie, you're looking between 7 and 14 gigabytes.
The biggest problem with living in the cloud is your bandwidth and your caps.
Exactly.
Well, I read one nice thing that won't apply to most people, but it does to those of us that got the unlimited data. AT&T has come out and said that the caps they've been putting on are for the iPhone, or more or less for telephone handsets. They're not looking at tablets. They haven't been throttling them, and if you're still uncapped, you can keep on using it on LTE. I'm hoping that turns out to be a true statement.
Was that your main motivation for getting it, because of the LTE?
The LTE was the main motivation for getting it, and when I read that, a friend of mine sent it to me. It was a comment on Mac Rumors from AT&T saying that we're not throttling iPads, we're throttling iPhones, and only those high-end devices. So my unlimited iPad usage on LTE, if this comment is true, means I can go out there and streaming from Netflix all day long.
So I wonder if the App Store is going to release that 20 megabyte bandwidth limitation, though, over air, because currently you can't download anything bigger than 20 meg. And I'm sure every new iPad app will be.
They just announced that they bumped it up to 50 megabytes now.
And on the flip side, Google bumped up theirs, I think, to 4 gigabyte for extra files that you can download from the market. You can have a 50 megabyte app, I think, and then you can have 2 gigabyte side files that will be downloaded.
Well, I think the iTunes 1080p announcement was probably much greater tied to the Apple TV product than anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I was curious if it was on the iPad too.
So,
well, if I have a screen resolution that high, I'm going to want the 1080p quality.
They claim that it does shoot 1080p video from the new iPad, so it's got greater than HD resolution on the screen, so it should be capable of doing it.
Yeah, but I mean, I can on your screen on your wall, 1080p. That makes a lot of sense. Are you really going to care whether you're watching 720p or 1080p on your iPad?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Because I mean, yeah, it'll look great, but you're not being engulfed in the cinematic experience. It's a little thing.
Well, you could hold it really close to your face because you're not going to see the. As long as you're 12 inches. If you're 12 inches away, you're not going to see the pixels or whatever it is.
It's like IMAX.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Right.
Glasses.
People build helmets with the iPad stuck on the front, walking around.
And Apple did something they've never done before, to my knowledge. They certainly never did with the iPads. Was they're still selling the stock of iPad 2s. They knocked the $100 off the price. You can still buy them brand new.
They've kind of done that before with iPhones, at least.
Yeah.
They've left the last version out there as a low end.
It's first. I mean, so I went out and bought an iPad 2 because not only was $100 off, but I went into the Apple refurbished store and I found one that was $50 even less. So
it's a sound strategy. They've got stock. Why not sell them?
Yeah. So I mean, I saved 150. The iPad 3, the iPad 2012 saved me $150.
I do the same thing. I'm talking to you on a refurbished iMac.
Yeah, well, almost all my equipment is refurbished. There was a long time I stopped buying refurbished stuff from the Apple Store, stopped buying laptops and Mac Minis because Apple would pull this little trick. They would get the previous generations of Mac Minis, but they would put a bigger drive or more memory in it and make it within $100 of buying a brand new one. So when they started doing that about 2 years ago. So I started to go to Amazon and buy used on Amazon. But in the last, they can't do that with iPads and iPhones. So the refurbished store there still works great. Yeah. And you get the warranty when you buy it too.
Very good.
So you can bring it to a genius near you.
Yeah, you just don't get that incredible experience of opening the Apple packaging and seeing
that is delightful too. You peel off that little piece of plastic, you get the new iPad smell.
Well, if you get a refurbed iPad, there's about a 99.9% chance it's been used in the bathroom.
Oh.
Yeah, but they replaced all that outer shell and it's green. It's all brand new.
But you'll know that the internals have been exposed.
Okay, Costanza.
Well, you could say the same thing about smokers. You don't know if
So you could say that about any phone, any PDA, any smartphone.
It's worse with a phone because you have to put that up next to your head. You know, where has this phone been? I don't know.
Or if we're watching the Retina display really close. On the,
But I thought it was great they kept it the same price. I don't care that the stock market hated it. It was the right move to keep it the same price.
Yeah.
It is the right move. They dominate the business as well that way, or the segment of the business.
Yeah.
Because
Wall Street wanted them to raise it, and their stock took a little bit of a hit because of that announcement.
yeah, Wall Street's stupid.
I mean, those Retina displays, I guess the wholesale cost for them has got to be
Right.
higher, right?
Yeah, you have to figure Apple's paying a little bit more price per unit, for the internals than the current generation.
So Chris, are you going to get one?
But they outstrip the competition.
I am probably going to get one. I actually just sold my iPad 1 on eBay almost a month ago with the anticipation of getting a new one. But I've also felt a certain freedom for not having one for a month. Like, I'm not even sure if I really need one anymore.
Really? You felt tied to it?
What's that?
You felt tied to it?
Well, in some way, I have an old iPhone and I have an Android phone that I use every day, and I'm starting to think I have enough screens all around me, and not really know if I need another one. But I use it mainly as a little small portable TV, and I also use it all the time when I do installations in people's homes for PDF manuals and to show them pictures of products and things that we could install in their home, basically. So it works out really nice for me in that regard. And the HDMI mirroring works out for me as well as far as testing out displays and things like that. So I'll probably end up getting one just for business purposes, but ultimately I wish I didn't want it so badly.
So what did your iPad 1 fetch?
I'm iFree.
I'm sorry, Keith, what was that?
What did your iPad 1 fetch on the open market?
I got $338 on eBay for it,
Wow.
Wow.
which I was pretty happy with.
Especially when you can think for $20 more, I got the iPad 2 out of that.
Right, exactly. I mean, based on your story, I could turn around and buy a pretty nice iPad 2, for basically what I got out of the transaction.
Because I saw people dumping their iPad 2. I went even Gazelle, eBay store. They were selling their iPad 2s for almost the same price Apple was selling them, new, the $100 knockoff. So I didn't quite get that. But maybe it's too new in this ecosystem to see what's going to happen with that.
Well, and you said that was about a month ago that you sold that iPad, the original version. I'm wondering if the prices have tanked even more now since the announcements have been coming out.
I imagine they have, and it was a 32 gigabyte version. It wasn't the
Yeah.
16.
Oh, well, yeah, I bought the 16 Wi-Fi. I didn't get any frills.
I'm kind of curious about the Google rumored tablet that they're working on. I hope they decide to go high end to compete with the iPads instead of kind of Kindle Fire end, which is nice, but I don't want a Kindle Fire because it just doesn't do everything I want it to do. I want Google to come out with a really nice tablet with Android.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. I'm a big Google and Android Linux fan. The market cries out for a demonstrative, here's what the tablet should look like in the Android universe.
Have you seen the Asus Transformer Prime?
No.
Yeah, the Transformer Prime is pretty cool, but it's just it's almost there. It's almost where I want them to be, but I want to see Google come out with something that competes with the iPad, the new iPad.
So you want Google hardware as well as the OS?
Well, yes, ideally, but Google might do a Nexus type thing where
You
they'll
can call Motorola hardware Google now.
yeah, or Motorola, or even just another like Asus or something come out with.
Well, here's the question I'm getting at is back to what Steve Jobs used to say that he thought was, their advantage over Android was a unified platform. So is that kind of what you're looking for? Is like
No.
one vision to control the whole thing? Or
No, I guess I'm looking more for a Nexus
One ring
type
to rule
of
them all.
situation where it's Google
One
blessed,
That sort of segues into another topic of conversation that took place today too. The Google unification of this Google Play, combining their books, their apps, their music, all into one umbrella and brand. And I discovered that today when my Android phone suddenly had some updates. I wanted to see what was in the updates, so I went to the Android Market, and the first thing that was a screen came up and said, Android Market is now Play Market. Please accept these terms. And I didn't. I said, I don't want to play with this right now. So I got out of it, went and did a couple of things, went back to it, and the Android Market button didn't work. It had already installed without even me accepting it. Yeah, the Play Store, as it's called. And it didn't remove my old icon. It didn't put it on the screen background. It just installed it, in the phone. It was only on the menu. And so thanks to Dave for pointing that out to me, because I didn't expect it to be installed since I didn't even accept it.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah.
You
Now
need
I
to
got
be
this
assimilated.
Play Store, which I don't like because it's not an Android brand, and it sounds like I'm playing a game called Store.
Well, I want to play my calendar app. Can I play my calendar app?
Yeah, play my spreadsheets. So
It does seem like an odd choice for a name to me, too. And the exact same thing happened to me, Keith, as far as not being able to tap on my market icon anymore.
Yeah, and no warning. It didn't say, with the screen, your market icon has now been disabled or anything.
Yeah, it really should warn you, say, hey, this is what the new icon looks like, this is what it's called. You're not going to have Android Market, put a little red X across it, that's now this, next time you
by the way, I already did it to you.
Yeah.
and I don't know why they changed the name from Android Market, which, everybody understood and accepted, just because they unified all of the buying experiences with it. I mean, I think that Amazon's trying to do the same thing with their Kindle brand. It seems like they're all putting the same stuff in one place, kind of like the iTunes Store does.
I think Google Store.
I was going to say David had the best suggestion, which was it should have been called Google Store.
Yeah, that would.
I would love to see the Google Market or Google Store.
Of course, they need one a T-shirt.
Google Store, Google Market, either one of those would have been fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
We all love the Android brand. We all love the Google brand. If you want to consolidate everything, put it in one big umbrella. Put it under the Google umbrella.
But we all thought the name iPad sucked when iPad 1 came out. We all thought that was the worst name ever.
Die.
Now look. So maybe 3 years we'll be like, oh yeah, Google Play. Remember when we were mad? But it was called Google Play, and now it's like synonymous with the Google name and stuff like that. So now they're, they have this word Play, and they're playing off of that.
Did they get Play.com domain too?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are they afraid to use the Google name because it might alienate some of the hardware vendors?
Why would that happen?
Well, it's like if you're Asus and you put out a product that's using Android, would you want Google's name superseding your hardware brand name?
Every Android phone I've owned has said Google Android on it somewhere. In the documentation or on the back of the phone or something like that. No, I haven't seen the word Android without the word Google.
Well, the official name is Google Play. So, I mean, it's just on your phone it says.
All right, in that case, you're right. Then if they got Google on there, they shouldn't have had to Play. It should have been Google Market.
It says Play Store on my phone.
Yeah, but if you go to the website, it does have the Google logo.
Not only that, the icon is 2D. It's less impressive than the previous icon.
Oh, I love the icon.
It's pretty plain.
I love the icon.
Mine still says Market, I think. I haven't even gone to look at it yet.
Well, it's probably not there anymore. As soon as you go look at it, it's gone.
All right, hold on. I'll go get it.
It doesn't work.
Awesome. The icon is awesome.
Funny. This a live.
The old icon was cute. It had a little Android, it was on a shopping bag and all that, but the average consumer doesn't care about the little Android. Yeah,
well, I don't mind so much that they want to move away from that, but as you said, I would rather have called it Google than Play.
Well, you could be right. It could be a way for other manufacturers to not feel threatened by the Google name being all over their device.
But press it and see what happens.
Go to it, yeah.
Yeah, let me click your screen.
Yeah, I think there's a branding need in Google's aspect, and I really think they're trying to soften the Android marketplace, essentially trying to appeal to the non-technical consumer. So I think this is probably why they went with a softer name.
Absolutely, I agree.
So is everything
they want it to seem like a fun place to hang out and find new apps and discover new things.
So do we blame Angry Birds for all of this? Is everything just becoming a game now?
Well, that's the thing. I was just on iTunes, and the top 10 apps were games.
Well, yeah, I can believe that.
But it didn't always used to be that way. I was just surprised because I hadn't bought any apps in a while, and it was kind of a mix, and now it's just games.
So do you think this will create an irrational problem for enterprise use of this stuff?
Yes.
Because it no longer has a professional name. It doesn't, it doesn't like commercial.
I'm still waiting for any of these prosumer products to actually be enterprise ready.
Well,
I still don't have faith in the Apple product as an enterprise platform either.
If people were worried that Android wasn't getting adopted into the enterprise market as quickly as it should, or as quickly as iPhone, this doesn't help it that everything's going to be called playing now.
Yeah, but if you're an enterprise, you're going to want to control the market anyway. You're not going to want to necessarily let your employees have the market or the Google Play on there.
Yeah.
So you might replace it with your own sauce, and per se, get rid of that Play stuff, because this is enterprise. We don't need a market. We don't want Google's stuff on here. We want to control everything on our phones.
I invited a couple of Google people to join us. It would have been really great to hear some Google people talk about it, but.
You don't really think
outside
they're
of
going
the
to bash
name and
Play.
the icon. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, you don't really think that Google people are going to bash Play, though, even on any sort of a public
No.
forum?
I wanted to hear, I want to hear their side, their passion, I mean, they don't do most things without at least some reason behind it. So it's nice to know. I get the feeling we're missing a piece of the puzzle.
Probably.
Well, iTunes doesn't really cover the whole thing that they do anymore either. I mean, it started as music, but they sell movies, they sell apps, they do more than tunes.
Yeah, and iTunes should get renamed to something else.
Yeah, it should.
But so what's it going to be called? Listen.
Well, now they can't use Play, so
It's built to listen.
They can't use Play.
Play is taken because you can play your music, you can play your games, you can play your movies.
iPlay.
So it works for most of their products that they're trying to sell on there.
It's the iPlay store.
I think in a couple of years it'll make sense. It'll feel right.
That's what I think. I don't know what I will still lament the change because I think it was a step backward. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get used to it too. But I don't think I'm ever going to get used to this other thing that came up when they changed their logo from the nice blue multicolored stuff, the G Plus logo, to the red one, the orange red one that matched the Blogger color scheme. And then today they just rolled out the change where all the +1 buttons are now red.
Yeah.
Right.
Are they?
Yep.
They
Yeah,
are.
everything's going to that burnt orange color.
Yeah, except I don't know if they fixed it yet or not. I posted a picture. I took a screenshot. If you go to the +1 badge page, the badges are there and they're all. But on the top of the screen, where it has an image of what the button will look like, it's still the old one.
It's true.
Right.
So,
Well, and it doesn't make sense to me because almost all of Google's products have a multicolored theme to them with the blue and the red and the yellow. And for some reason, they've decided to go away from that with Google+. And I've never really understood it either myself. I guess they wanted to have its own identity. But personally, I always liked the other ones better, too.
I did too. People tend to like the cooler end of the spectrum better than the hot end for technology and computing and stuff like that.
I'm guessing they got somebody with a new idea and design and rolled it out across everything, and that's that.
Well, I think Facebook is using blue, so it's kind of maybe they want to differentiate a little bit.
Their way of saying we are not Facebook.
I don't know. The problem is you can come up with a lot of justifications for it because Google has so many hands and so many fingers into everything. That's the color scheme of the Blogger environment, and Blogger was social media. So you could say, well, we're just trying to unify our social media environment. That's the color scheme we went to. But then they also, and that's when that color first changed. That was what we were hearing. Then when Google moved forward and said we're going to integrate everything, we're going to bring search into this and things like that. I hope that the initial search screen doesn't change to that orange red too. It's just not an attractive color, and it's a unicolor, So yeah, most people don't like it. So it makes you wonder why there's such a push for it.
Well, when you say most people,
I
have you really done a generic study of random sampling of people?
Most of the comments.
You're only hearing the people complain, "Oh, where's my blue?" But
Yeah, well, that's the problem. The haters are going to hate, and they tend to be louder and more numbering than the other people. Because nobody's going to say, "I love it, I love it." They're either going to be indifferent or they're going to hate it. So,
yeah, I think most people don't care.
Yeah, most people. It's not going to stop me doing whatever I'm doing.
Exactly. Oh, Google Plus, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Went red. They went red. That's why I couldn't handle it anymore.
It's just
timeline,
so
I don't
angry.
mind timeline, but timeline's fine. But give me that red, and I can't stand it.
Red means stop.
How well does that show up on the new iPad color screen? high-resolution color screen.
It's probably like this big because it's such a fine resolution.
How are iPhone apps, traditional iPhone apps, going to look on this new high-resolution screen? Ones that haven't been, maybe optimized for the iPhone.
Yeah, are they going
4?
to do quadruple now instead of doubling? Because they do the doubling, right? That you can do like to double the size of the app if it's a regular iPhone app.
Yep.
On the iPad. So now they're going to quadruple? And it'll look all
Do they give you
disgustingly
any ability of
pixelish.
changing that setting at all? Can you specify icon size and font size?
No, but he brings up a good point, because what I'm thinking is that you're going to have a market now with 2 sets of resolution for the iPad, or 3 actually. You've got the doubling thing that happens for the iPhone apps that aren't iPad compatible. You've got the original iPad and iPad 2 resolution, and then you've got the HD resolution. So are developers going to have to come up with multiple versions and it automatically scales down, or what's going to happen?
Lenny, what do you think?
All of a sudden, a little fragmentation
Yeah,
in the
well,
Apple
I mean,
ecosystem.
yeah, there was quite a bit of fragmentation when the HD Retina screens came up on the iPhones, and there was quite a bit of stress in the developer market, especially creating graphics to support. And yeah, file sizes got bigger, and iOS developers had to create multiple versions, and now we're just adding another layer of complexity. So this isn't going to be good for the developers, but in the long term, hopefully, for customers.
Well, I kind of love that there's some fragmentation happening over at Apple, because everybody's complaining about
That's
Android fragmentation.
That doesn't really happen. It just works.
So David's an app developer, and he programs both on Android and the iOS universe.
And Dave, we don't call it fragmentation, we call it choice.
So David, what do you think? Are you going to have did you have any iPad apps out there?
Some apps that we had developed internally at Hendrix, we have. I don't have any on the App Store that are universal apps. Apple's already pushing developers to put all the artwork as Retina formatted display anyway. So I think you'll just find that more and more devices are going to be Retina devices as time goes by. So I don't see it as much of a big incremental change. So
I wonder what Stuck on Earth looks like on the new iPad too.
So red-orange is sexy and exotic, according to color theory.
Here's the thing about this. I used to work for a company called Digital Equipment Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in the late 80s, early 90s, and their logo was a nice big blue digital. Mm-hmm. And there was a marketing thing put out, coupled with new blood getting executive leadership positions. And they did a survey and said, burgundy is a warm color. People will light up to it. So they changed the logo to burgundy. Nobody liked it. And a couple of years later, the company was sold. So I've heard this before, that people dumping blue for the hot end of the spectrum.
Well, here's an interesting question. I wonder how the red appeals to women. Maybe they are seeing the inroads as get the women on board, and then the men will follow.
My wife likes red more than blue.
Well, there you go.
She's
Maybe that's the key here that we're not thinking about. I wish we had a woman in here to ask.
I don't know, it does make the +1 button stand out now.
I can go find
That's
some.
important.
I could go ask my 18-year-old, see what she said.
Show her in reverse order.
It's a little Coke Pepsi challenge here.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, out of this whole hangout, is there not one of us that can go ask a woman?
We're all afraid.
There were some women invited, none showed.
I get on the hangout shows, my wife goes to bed, so it's too late.
We have, there's some women in the chat room. I think my friend Jen is there, and Beauty Bubble's there. So there's a couple that could. Do you like the new?
We put it out to you.
Yeah.
I think my wife is going, what the heck are you doing on the computer with a bunch of people talking about iPads?
Gemmobile in the chat says, I hate the red.
Okay.
So that's it. All women hate red.
Do a Google search for Pantone 2012 color of the year and see what you get.
And I would +1 that, but that's red too.
It's pretty much the exact same color. It's a orangish, reddish, subdued red, basically. And
maybe they're ahead of the curve, I guess.
I'm just wondering.
So somebody likes that color, obviously.
Where are they? I'm just wondering where they're drawing that line. Where is the red change going to stop? Is the Google multicolor logo on the search page going to change?
I like the red.
Love that. I hope it doesn't.
I'm not a fan of the multicolor. It's busy. It's annoying.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing just the red logo.
Okay.
Nice and
I
clean.
don't know.
I think there's a psychology behind
I
it,
like
and
the other
there's
one
4
too,
other
too,
products
but-
yet to be announced.
Yes.
One for each color.
Yeah, it'd be cool if Google had a whole like presentation at I/O about just the red.
Well,
Wasn't that
Today we're
kinda how
unveiling red, the new red.
You know,
Adobe does it? Each product has a color?
T-Mobile claims they have a copyright on the color magenta as a font. And they've sued people for logos or text that was done in that same color, claiming it would cause customer confusion and things like that. I don't know how...
That's it. I'm doing everything in magenta from now on, just to aggravate T-Mobile.
So if Timo's taco stand logo was in magenta, he'd be totally screwed.
We're gonna go with Tangerine Tango.
Mmm.
Get that citrus fresh flavor going.
Android is going to try to own the lime green.
I think they already do.
It's ours.
That's the other thing. The Android robot is so cute. I just want to see it everywhere.
I do think the dessert names for the versions are one of the best marketing things that Android has going for it.
That's been that's been a general open source practice in companies I've worked at. Red Hat did it, and a couple other projects where the name of your next product or project or release has to have some relationship to the previous one, and it has to be something that you can then also jump off of and call the next thing. And you can see Apple doing that, from leopard, snow leopard, they're keeping in the cat family.
Cheetah.
But I'd rather eat ice cream than a snow leopard.
Yeah, and then of course Google's doing it with tasty treats.
I mean, Jelly Bean. I can't wait for Jelly Bean. And I don't even know what the features are, but it just it's so delicious. I just want to eat.
How
Jelly
can you
Bean.
go wrong?
So it's going to be a great version, right?
Dave, you are an addict.
See, this is why I'm not an Android man. I don't like jelly beans.
Oh, that's
If it doesn't have chocolate or ice cream, then
Jelly bean.
it's wrong.
Well, you
Yeah.
got ice cream now, so you can live off that for a few versions until they get back to a chocolate. I think key lime pie might be the K. I think I heard that the other day.
So did we say all there was to say about the Apple announcements today? I mean, this was the first iPad announcement without Steve Jobs. Ew.
I had a question about it that I'm sure you guys can probably answer. Did anyone say specifically what the resolution of the front-facing camera was?
It's still VGA. So
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Exactly
it's
the same.
camera that was there before.
We didn't talk about gaming.
I was
on the
hoping
new
for a little
iPad.
bit nicer front-facing camera.
So was I, and I'm disappointed that they didn't upgrade that, but I just read it today. It's still VGA. And as far as gaming, I want to know if I can fling my Angry Birds a little further on the new iPad.
I mean, they made an interesting point today that the new iPad is, I don't know how many times more powerful than an Xbox 360 and a PS3.
Is?
But people think
Right.
of those systems as the ultimate gaming machine, but in reality, this Retina display tablet has more horsepower than your console and all the games on it, and it's really interesting when you think about
Well,
it.
it's not a quad-core computer. It's quad-core graphics, and it's a
Right.
dual-core computer.
Right. Yeah, the comment they made was it has more memory than an Xbox or PlayStation 3 and better resolution. They said nothing about processing power.
But the quad-core graphics capability, they showed a little bar graph, and it was way higher than
But that strikes me as the right move, though, because the way everybody uses an iPad, it's graphics intensive.
Yeah. Well,
what does the computer need to do other than drive the graphics? And
didn't they just recently hire a guy from Microsoft that was running Xbox or part of the Xbox program that's now running their gaming on iOS? I read something to that effect, but I'm not surprised that they want to take a bigger step in that space, because every kid that goes to school is going to want to have an iPad, and they'll justify it with their books, and they'll be sitting there playing Angry Birds or racing games or something like that instead.
what I think would be a big coup is if they got Diablo 3 on the iPad.
oh, that would be awesome.
Now you're talking.
I think, even me, I'd start going, iPad's looking pretty good.
I just
Yeah,
learned
but,
See?
we're all a bunch of Diablo fans, so we're gonna have to talk.
Diablo.
I heard the other day it was April something was a
Ah,
rumored release
I've been
date.
waiting. It's years. I've been waiting years for that thing. They should. Man.
No, Duke Nukem 2 you're still waiting
Yeah.
for.
Duke
No,
Nukem forever.
but it's following the same release cycle now. Just release videos of things that you're going to see if we do release the game.
Yeah, I just
So I have
pre-ordered
a
it.
iPad 3 question, or new iPad, or iPad 2012, or the iPad.
I think it's iPad 2012 is going to be the name.
It's like Windows 95.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Does it kill? Does it put another nail in the print media coffin and the magazine coffin?
Yes.
Has,
I think
has
every
that-
single new release of a device and an iDevice or a pad or a tablet, I think every single release is just another little nail
well,
in print media's coffin.
has
I mean,
resolution been a stumbling
No, but it's just more. You're just going to get more adoption. You know, the more and more people that buy these devices, that means the other iPad's cheaper, so more people are going to buy those, and more other people are going to buy the other tablets, and pretty soon, almost there's going to be a point where it's just. I mean, the print media is already dying.
It is already dying. And the high-end magazines, you know, the high-end kind of thing always had a great look to it, and there's always certain magazines that had a great look, and now it's going to be like, well, this looks better.
And that was one of the things that they were pointing out in their video. You know, it's like with the new resolution, they were zooming in on the type and saying, you don't see any pixelation going on here, even with looking at one character. So they're really pressing the quality of the fonts that they have in their apps. And that's just going to have to, you know, a lot of people will say, why am I lugging these books or these magazines around when I can just subscribe to it here?
Yeah.
And it changes it
Absolutely.
too, because then you get a more
As-
dynamic and interactive type of experience in media. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you can integrate videos into your magazine and audio, and people could enter contests right through the magazine and things like that instead of
It's
sitting
what I-
there passively.
So when
clicking in.
when I open up my iPad, I want a little dropout of an iPhone on my lap then, like those advertising cards used to in magazines.
But that's kind of what I'm expecting is like what, yeah, I don't know if they do this yet or not, but if they can have something on a device that's connected, do they have it where you can like click here and it'll take you to where you can buy this product in the ad or give you something interactive that makes you want to buy it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, print can't compete with that. No, and you can make a sale immediately.
It's more integral than that. They can figure out if you're walking around with your iPad with the GPS, if you're near a store that has a sale and send something to it, if they really want to take
That's
that.
true. Have your iPhone vibrate, say,
Right,
hey,
and
there's a sale on shoes.
Speaking of selling,
And the
stuff
advertiser
online,
can get direct feedback that you took advantage of clicking on that particular ad in that particular location and bought, you know, from that particular store as a result.
Yeah, just to go a
Get
little
lot
off
more
topic
information.
here for a second, I saw the other day that I think Delta made a deal with Amazon for their in-flight Wi-Fi is free as long as you're on the Amazon.com domain. So as long as you're sitting there surfing products and buying stuff, you can get free internet. So if you're really bored and you don't want to pay for the Wi-Fi on the flight, you can sit there and whip out your new iPad and surf on Amazon and buy some products for free. I'd rather do
Dave, I
that.
did that yesterday on my flight to Atlanta. Went to Amazon.com. It was free, so as long as I stayed within Amazon.com, I could shop for free. But as soon as I went off, I had to pay for.
So it's like a Sky Mall magazine.
Yeah, kind of. I think it's a great idea.
Time for a proxy redirector.
I love searching for products on Amazon and researching and reading reviews and comparing products and stuff. So why not do that on the plane?
I
do
haven't
a ton
heard
of
that.
that.
I mean, I've had free Wi-Fi on planes before, and then the first thing I do is I use Skype for voice over IP, and I make calls, which freaks out the people next to me. I'm talking on my phone.
Skype.
So that's a question for you, and maybe somebody else can help me out here, but why can't we make phone calls on the iPad using the regular cellular service? Why do I need an iPhone?
I use Bobsled. I don't know if you guys have ever tried Bobsled, but you can use Bobsled and actually make voice calls over with the iPad just on headphones or using the microphone. You dial any phone anywhere for free.
I think the iPad is lacking a radio because I think there's a different spectrum between what you're using for data and what you're using for voice. Even though it's over this, you know, supposedly the same 3G network, I still think there's a frequency difference, and that antenna is not in the iPad.
Yeah, so as long as you're using some sort of voice over IP, then
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd
you
be cool.
can do it.
So
Cool.
So, Dave Veffer, I just posted a link in the chat room. Can you play that video? Can you do a screen share of that?
I can, but you're not going to be able to hear it.
It's okay. It's visual.
All right.
I mean, it's probably got audio too, but it's.
Can you,
This was a concept video that somebody posted of what they would like the iPad 3 to look like. I don't know if you guys have seen this before or not. It's an awesome idea. I wish Apple would adopt it.
all right.
As the Hangout cranes to a complete halt.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, so
Can you bring that up, Keith?
I'm trying to. It's not letting me switch to it. It's acting funky. There we go. Okay.
All right.
So it's basically it's an iPad where the screen goes all the way to the edge, and the edge magnets also let you to put them side by side and they connect.
That
And
would be
then
interesting.
the video expands automatically based on how many you place side by side.
You know, the thing
That's awesome.
there was
Play games too that way too, and you can bring your iPhones and other things.
dude.
Controls. Yeah, and it's got little broadcast things in it too.
No, I was remember those old football games used to have like a metal table with the little players with plastic feet on them.
Yeah,
That's
electric
vibrating.
football.
Oh, and it would shake, and it would just
Yeah.
vibrate.
Yeah, and two of them would lock arms and dance.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of as soon as I saw this. I thought I got to get this.
But this is an awesome idea. It's one of those things. As soon as I saw it, I'm wondering why didn't somebody immediately do this?
It's
Well,
only a
it-
matter of time.
There's a lot of conversations about why they have the edge on the iPad. It's because of the where you have to keep your thumbs to hold on to it. I mean, all of the there's actually some ergonomic studies about how you hold the thing. And I'll tell you that when I grab hold of mine and I'm holding on to it, my hand does rest on the edges.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you went all the way to the edge of the screen, it's an interesting concept to be able to tack them together and do all that kind of stuff. But you would end up with just fingerprints on the edges, and you wouldn't be using that space anyways.
Well, then you can make that a bevel that you remove or something. I don't know. There's probably ways around that.
You can unclick me now if you like, Keith.
You don't
Yeah,
want to
the one thing I noticed from today's demo is that when they were showing the iPhoto demonstration, they did a swipe from the bezel edge, and I was wondering if they had added some kind of touch sensitivity to the bezel on the new iPad. Has anybody heard anything else about that?
I haven't heard anything, but I did notice that as well when they were doing the iPhoto demonstration, and saw a couple other people notice that they say that there were bezel gestures now where you swipe over from the left to the right edge. Basically, I don't know if that's something that's just a particular application that supports it or what.
And that was one of the things that from the invitation that they had, they were showing the finger down there. People were wondering, it's like, is this now an edge-to-edge device? But I haven't seen the video yet for the presentation, so I don't know.
It's not an edge-to-edge device. It's you still have the bevel around the edges. It physically looks almost identical to the iPad 2.
Yeah, it
But
looks like it's the same
I
house.
wonder if they just haven't written into the OS some kind of edge detection where it kind of can just guesstimate a swipe from the edge based on positioning.
That's what I was wondering, because I saw the same, like they were showing the white one, so you could see the same white border all the way around, but can it now detect underneath that white border? And if so, why?
William, which color did you buy, black or white?
I got a black, but it doesn't matter because I use Jello-Skin, so I put I've got that picture from Tusker House that I put on the back of it.
Yeah, I went out of my way to get a black one because when you're watching videos of any sort, that's what you want is a black border.
Exactly, because the white kind of is distracting when you're looking at a picture or a video.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
This is true.
Yeah. So I'm wondering how well the white ones sell. I mean, they're the same price.
I see a lot of people at work that have the white ones. Don't know why.
Yeah, well,
I see them all the time too.
The white ones came out first. So, I mean, but now, there's a lot of interesting things. I'd love to find out, how well the white ones do compared to the black ones.
Well, if I lived in
I
a
think
very
Apple's
sunny
missing an
environment,
untapped.
if I
I
lived in
think
a very
Apple's missing out on an untapped environment. Yes, they need burnt sienna. I'm waiting for that.
We need the burnt orange version. That one will sell better than all of them.
Yeah, if I lived in a very
It'll
sunny
be a hit with
environment,
all the women at least.
I wouldn't mind getting white because it's not going to get as hot. So if you leave it out in the sun, a black one's going to get a lot hotter to the touch.
Bill's Nick on the chat room wants a red one, so there you go.
I'm
Well,
with you,
know,
Bill.
there is something to that. Why aren't they in colors? Everything else they do is.
It might have something to do with the
I think they learned their lesson with the iMac.
Yeah.
But you remember the white,
Yep.
when the white one came out, they had a lot of trouble with the front-facing camera and the paint and that. Maybe there is something to do with the way that they put the paint coloring on the back of the glass that's causing the issue. Because it is, it's that new Gorilla Glass too. Maybe there's something with the way that gets embedded in there.
So the chat room's asking what's for a recommendation on Jello skin for the iPad.
I think it's
Yes.
Jella, right?
Gela, G-E-L-A skins.com.
G-E-L-L-A.
G-E-L-A skins. I mean, like for mine, I don't know if this is going to show up well or not, but so I've got, that's the photograph I took, so I've got that on the back of it, but they also set it up so, let me turn this way. So the photograph also becomes my wallpaper, but they've got a, part of the sticker is there, blends in perfectly with the way they crop out
That's
the...
clever. I haven't seen anybody do that. That's
Very
cool.
cool.
That is very clever.
So, I mean, they've got hundreds of art designs that they do, or you can upload your own photos. So anything you want, really, you can put on there.
So we have a room full of geeks here. Anybody have any other news that we should bring up?
It's not geeky, but Bike Week is coming.
There's no electronics in a Bike Week, is there?
Oh yeah,
Are you
you
kidding?
got to see some of those bikes, man.
Oh, yeah. They're all decked out with neon spray paints, and they're riding down the road looking at their Android or iPhone.
That's just the girls on the back.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-bum.
Somebody had to say it.
Oh, cool.
Bike Week, are you in Daytona?
I'm close. I'm in Sanford, so I'm 45 miles from Disney or 45 miles from Daytona. It's the center of the universe. I mean, if you really want to get technical, I still have my one more Disney day.
I do too.
How was that? Not to get too far off topic, but how was the 24 hours in the Magic Kingdom?
It had pros and cons to it. It was crowded. That was the biggest con. They didn't limit how many people could be in there, so it was as crowded as a regular day. I was playing the new Sorcerer's card game, and I was almost every single portal I was standing at, I had to wait for 5 or 6 people in front of me, and so I got tired of that. And the line waits were an hour, between 30 and 80 minutes, depending upon the attraction. But on the plus side, it was cool to be there that late at night, and there were a lot of people walking around in pajamas.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that too.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was taking advantage of an opportunity there you wouldn't normally have.
Yeah.
And then they had some things like they had some party setups for for dancing and DJs and things like that. So there was some unusual things going on. So yeah,
I actually go to work in my pajamas quite frequently.
We know, Lenny. We mean to talk to you about that.
Yeah, Lenny's got a good job.
I would have brought a sleeping bag.
Well, and by the way, I saw a lot of people walking around with tripods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
More than usual. For the previous day, the previous morning session.
And that was the only reason I went. I went there to try and take a sunrise shot, in the park, and of course it was fogged in.
Man, was it fogged in.
And there were 8 guys, right next to me, all of them grumbling about the fog and no sun. But you know what? I got a photo that I really liked out of it, and then I left.
I saw one or two incredible photos of the fog around the castle.
There was a great opportunity.
I did as well.
There. It's
that
just
you would never have had. I mean, that was the opportunity.
Exactly. I didn't get what I came for, but I still got something that I enjoyed.
Right, exactly. You got to wing it.
Yep.
Us Disney people are just here going, oh, it's so nice to hear people talk about good things about Disney, so just keep talking.
I actually love the fog and the castle pictures that I saw with the lights still on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm addicted to this new Sorcerer game that they have. Man, it's like Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering, because it's cards with various ratings for your attacks and defense and things like that. And you walk up to these interactive screen portals, and you have to use them to fight the villains that appear on the screen. And some cards are ineffective, and some cards are. Or you can also combine cards and produce a result. So
Oh, cool.
there's
Seems like
over
we should do seems like we should do a vidcast on that, Keith. Maybe we could come
Yeah.
by and videotape some stuff with the iPad and then put it on.
here's the thing about it. Okay, I'll give you a little trick that you can pull now that people have shared with me. There's over 70 cards now out there, and you're only allowed to get 5 a day. You can play the game as often as you want today, but they'll only give you 5 cards, and they're random cards, so you're going to get dupes and things like that. What people are doing on the internet is they're posting photos of all the cards that they got, and you can put them on your phone, and you can still hold the screen up to of your phone to the game, and it works. So you don't have to carry your cards or even have all of them. Just get them all into your phone.
Swipe, swipe, swipe.
Yeah. So I got to work on that.
Just wait for WDI to figure that out, and then they'll make that change so it doesn't work anymore.
No, I don't see any reason.
Or they'll make an app and make you down and pay for it.
There's no really downside or impact to that. You know, I mean, they're not selling the cards. There's no income loss or anything like that. So, well, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for somebody to create a website out there that creates an actual card game for these cards, where you can go play, you know, Dungeons and Dragons War or whatever kind of things, you know, Pokemon. I don't care what kind of game you want to play with these cards, and turn them into something that you can collect and play with friends, and not have to go to the Magic Kingdom to go do this. Somebody will do that.
Well, gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun, but I've got to bow out.
Yep. I think we covered everything we wanted to discuss today. So,
Very cool.
thank you, everybody, for being here, and especially on this first one, which was a little rough to get going.
It was fun. I think it went well.
Yeah.
I do too.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yep. Swimmingly.
Marvelous.
Is in the can.
Thanks,
So we'll get
Keith.
together and do this again. Thank you. I'll see you guys
Sounds
later.
good.
And now I want to create a
Thanks a lot.
QR,
Bye.
QR code game.
And thanks, Chris.
Good to see you all.
All right.
Good luck tonight, Keith.
Yep, coming up, we have Thomas Hawk's thing to do.
Yes. And a big ass camera giveaway.
Yeah, I'm going to try and win that.